Hey guys, this is Justin at the Survival Review, and due to the fact that Skyfall is coming out on Friday, I wanted to do a few James Bond related videos. To start out, I want to talk about a James Bond movie that is really underrated and probably one of the best Bond films. That is License to Kill, which came out in 1989 and is the second one to star Timothy Dalton as James Bond. And he's not a common Bond. He only did 2 movies, The Living Daylights before this, and then License to Kill. And after that, that's when the series went on hiatus, and then they made GoldenEye with Pierce Brosnan. So anyway, this is a Bond film that is slowly getting a little bit more of the respect that it deserves, but is still not as highly regarded as it really should be. I was thinking another one like that would be On Her Majesty's Secret Service, which is the only Bond movie I saw George Lazenby. But that one's actually really starting to get a good reputation, so I decided to go with License to Kill. And okay, so License to Kill, I guess I'll explain the plot a little. It starts out with Bond and Felix Leiter, who's is a recurring character throughout the Bond films. He was in the recent Casino Royale, played by Jeffrey Wright, and in this film, Felix Leiter's getting married, and right before the wedding, they take down this drug boss, who is played by Robert Davi, he was one of the Agent Johnsons in Die Hard, and they arrest him, but then he gets out, and after the wedding and everything, he gets revenge on Felix Leiter by dropping him in a shark tank in his leg, and he loses a leg. And then after that, James Bond really wants to get revenge on that because they're best friends. But MI6 and M, they put him on another mission. He doesn't want to do that, so they take away his license to kill. And then so he leaves and he goes on a whole revenge mission. So the whole movie he's a rogue agent, and the whole movie he goes on this revenge mission trying to get the drug dealer and kill him for doing that to Felix. Also, they killed Felix's wife, too, in the process. And the reason why I think, especially at the time, this one wasn't as well received, is the fact that it's really dark. Besides, if it wasn't for the Daniel Craig films, this would probably be the darkest Bond film. It's the first Bond film to actually get an R rating, before being cut down to PG-13. And, the Ultimate Edition... The Ultimate Edition DVD does come with the uncut version, even though it says PG-13 on the back. It is the full uncut version, and Timothy Dalton is one of the best Bonds. I'm surprised he only did 2 films, because if you're a fan of Daniel Craig, you'll definitely love Timothy Dalton, because he's a much more darker, brooding, not goofy at all like Roger Moore or Pierce Brosnan. So, definitely one of the most underrated Bonds. And so it's not your kind of typical Bond movie because there's not as many exotic locations or anything. It's much more grounded, but it still works as a strong story, really strong characters, and a really good Bond villain. And like I said, it's a much darker story. And it's really actually really well developed too. I like how in this film you actually see that Bond and Felix are actually friends. You never see that in the other Bond films. He just pops in, helps him out a little bit, and that's it. In this one, you can really tell that they're true friends. So when this happens, it really gets Bond mad, and that's the best. This Bond, Timothy Dalton, he doesn't have any one-liners. That's actually the problem with The Living Daylights. It's the fact that they kind of gave him one-liners, but Timothy Dalton doesn't really do one-liners that well. So this one is practically one-liner free. He has a few kind of lines. There's this one scene where this guy who sold him out is right by the shark tank, and he's hanging right off the edge, and he's trying to bribe Bond. He's here's all this money, whatever. And Bond just goes you worked hard for it, you keep it, and he throws the bag onto the guy, which knocks him to the water, and he gets killed. And he does it with just a cold face, not goofy, you keep it. No, it was completely solemn and just dark and really crazy. Definitely dark one. Also, this isn't really a spoiler because you know it's gonna happen. But the villain's death is also one of those really dark moments too. Like, it's like ah. And the action scenes are awesome. Actually, there's a few goofy kind of over the top James Bond stunts. They're doing this truck chase, but it's actually the action scenes are really well done, really good, really thrilling, and just awesome. One of the things, also one of the reasons why I think the movie did good at the time was not also the fact it was dark, was that they changed the title right before releasing in America. The original title was License Revoked, but I think they thought that like the Americans wouldn't get that much because when they think of License Revoked, they think of like losing their license to drive. So they quickly changed the License to Kill like a few months before, so they didn't give them a lot of time to get together marketing. So that actually didn't help. But this is it's a really strong movie. I think one of the best Bonds. Definitely a good one to check out before or if you're in the mood for Bond, and definitely if you're a fan of like the darker Bond style of like Daniel Craig and his Casino Royale and Quantum of Solace. Definitely, it's along that line. The other Bond film that Timothy Dalton did, The Living Daylights, is a pretty good one, but still a little typical like Bond movie. Not as great, definitely enjoyable, check it out, but License to Kill is his best one. And definitely really good. Another thing, I was thinking probably why the movie's actually pretty ahead of its time. Like if you think about it, this was a really dark film that came out in the 80s and it was not that well received. But we have Casino Royale coming out, which is unanimously praised and loved. So I think the reason why is because even though the Roger Moore ones were really goofy, they were kind of the norm by then. Like they've been going on since the 70s. So like it felt a little bit jarring when they suddenly went from Roger Moore to Timothy Dalton, who's the complete opposite. Whereas by the time the Pierce Brosnan series went by Die Another Day, it was so over the top. You have invisible cars, laser beams, crazy CGI like windsurfing on a tsunami. Yeah, people were really just like, what? Because Brosnan films started out like kind of like a little bit of Roger Moore, but not too goofy. So like there's a little bit more seriousness to it. By the time Die Another Day came on, people were just like, that's ridiculous. And it didn't get to the point where it was kind of accepted. Slowly like accepted like Roger Moore. So I think that's why when Casino Royale came out, it was much more welcome. People were like, yeah, finally, no visible cars or laser beams. But with the Timothy Dalton ones, they were still like kind of used to Roger Moore. And that's kind of messed up. So that's what kind of like, I think, threw people off. And the reason why License to Kill didn't do as good. I mean, it's the lowest grossing out of all the Bond films. And it's been on a few people's worst Bond movies list. I've seen it, and it definitely does not deserve to be on a worst list. Especially because there's much more worst Bond movies out there that just aren't as good. License to Kill is a really superb Bond film, a really good movie, a really good thriller. I mean, it is different, and I can understand why Bond fans might not like that, kind of like how they complained about Casino Royale, where there's just like, oh, it's different, it's not really Bond, but it still has a Bond feel to it, you know? So to me, it doesn't, like, if it's different, which is cool, we're not seeing much more of the same. So definitely a strong film to check out, one of the best Bonds, in my opinion. Up there, not as good as, like, Goldfinger from Russia with Love and, like, even Goldeneye, but definitely one of the high ones. It's definitely Timothy Dalton's best, and if you haven't seen any Timothy Dalton Bond movie, please check out Living Daylights and especially License to Kill, because he's a great Bond, and I would have loved to have seen him in more Bond films, because he definitely was really close to the novel, the original Ian Fleming novels, and it's definitely a great Bond. And yeah, License to Kill, awesome Bond movie. If you're in the mood for Bond, like after seeing Skyfall or before seeing Skyfall, just check this one out. It's really worth it. This is Justin. Talk to you guys later.